Morning, everybody. Rusty from the Rusty Razor. Have another shave of the day, and today we're going to be doing Sharp Dress Matte. It's a tweed, green Irish tweed scent. It's a little on the richer side, kind of a cloying kind of scent to me. You can smell, it definitely smells like green Irish tweed, but there's something in it that is not quite in my wheelhouse. That's what I've said before. It's not bad. It's just there's something there that just like I don't know. But that's why they make samples from Sterling. You find something you're like, okay, not really a big fan of it. Probably will never buy a tub of it, but I'm willing to use the sample as long as it lasts. And we're also going to be using the Star Razor with Big Ben, third use. We'll see how number 3 goes with the Star Razor here. See if it is the star of the show. And we'll follow up with a little bit of Barbasol. Yep, Barbasol. Alright. I hope everybody's day is going good. It was a early morning for me. I'm back to the house. Yes, I came back to the house. Now it's time to go shave. So I went and did breakfast with my men's group from church. We get together and have breakfast and sit around and discuss the world and all that's fun stuff. This almost smells like cardamom to me in it. Kind of a cilantro style scent. I'm not a big fan of cilantro. Maybe that's it. And you got that green Irish tweed scent, but it's just something in there that's just not quite agrees with my nose. But, got up early, dark early, even before the sun got up, and it's got a decent amount of hydration in it. And have breakfast, and then come home. Now it's time to shave and stuff. Doesn't feel like getting up another half an hour to 45 minutes earlier to just do all that. Oh, yeah, that's just what it is. I definitely could tell on the third use of these already that this probably will be the last. Just not smooth. But you can tell when you're using a razor, it's like the performance of it. It's like yeah, it's working, but it just feels like it's dragging type of deal. Not up to snuff. Yeah, let's see. We were last shave. We were discussing fishing and going out, what to catch, just going out on the Mississippi River. I go out with my uncle. Occasionally we go out to some of the reservoir lakes around the state too, but yeah, there have been a few interesting times of going out on the river. You go out in the late afternoon before probably around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, go do some fishing, and then the sun would go down about 9-ish or so, and then you would stay out all night out on the river fishing, setting out poles. sit there and just catch fish after fish, you know. Me, I was always a night owl, so it was not too big a deal to me. Like when you typically go to bed around 2, 3 o'clock in the evening or morning, or whatever you want to call it. Staying up all night wasn't an over big deal. The hard part about it was like you get home and after all night and then you have to go clean about 100 fish. It's like you just set up an assembly line. One guy would be gutting them, another guy, you know, peeling the skin off them. Well, not quite that order, but you know. And another piece of, it's like a lot of times we'd fillet them out. A big old tub there and peel and gut them and then throw them in a tub and then you got to fillet them out. So you can make fish nuggets. But a few interesting times, it's like other cousin would go with us and same age as me. He was a fishing wildlife officer. He always liked going out too. Like, oh, I'm always trying to catch people doing this stuff, but I don't get to do it very often myself. Yeah, that's like, we always had fun going out. And there was one night we were cruising along, and my uncle got a little disoriented. We're exactly where we were on the river, and along the edges, you know, the lock and dam system raises the level of the rivers up after, but where the trees used to be, more or less a stump field now. And depending on how the level of the river, you can go over top of them or not. And sometime when the level was a little low, that kind of sticking up. And we were cruising along, and my uncle wasn't paying attention exactly where we were. Went into the stump field, and next thing the boat was like, like this. And we're like looking down at the water, and like, oh, and everything in the boat goes sliding, and we almost flipped over. And we right the boat back up, and I look around, oh, that was close, and I'm like, where's Ray? I look back, and he's in the water. Hey, you're back here. He went flying out of the boat. Because I was up front, in the very front. So I was like holding onto the rails on the front. And went flying. He was in the middle of the boat. My uncle was back at the tiller. He was hanging on, like going, and my cousin just went flying out of the boat. And not too smooth. Normally it's pretty smooth by now, but it's not. It's kind of rough. So, yeah, that was one night. Got him back in the boat, and he's like, well, that was interesting. Then we spent a few minutes with the lights on, getting all the tackle squared away again. My uncle, one of his poles got broke. My cousin must have snapped it when he went out of the boat, because I think he reached to grab the hole and just snapped it right in half. Like, well, there goes a couple $100. My fault. It's on me. You know. Kind of thin. Still thick, but yeah. Then there was another interesting time. We were sort of fishing in the channel, you know, because we were right off a hole trying to get some blue cats and flatheads using some live bait. We were pulling in decent sized channels also. And off in the distance, we seen a barge coming up the river, heading upriver, and you know that you got plenty of time. So typically, it was like, all right, pull up the anchor, and you drop the anchor. There's a hole, and you put the anchor above the hole, and then you let the anchor, as you let the line out, you float over top the hole. And we seen the barge coming, and said, all right, let's pull up the anchor. So we pulled the anchor up, and we're floating downstream, and my uncle's like, hits the electric start on the motor, and goes, like, that didn't start. Wasn't starting. We're like, okay, the barge is getting a little closer. And he's like, this thing won't start. So he starts yanking on the ripcord, trying to make it work. And it's like, wasn't working, wasn't starting. And I'm like, where's your oars at? Yeah, there should be, no oars. Where's the oars? I forgot to put them in. So we're sitting there with it out, and we're along the sides with our hands out, trying to get out of the path of this, because the barge will not stop. And we finally got ourselves out of the way. We were in the wake, and like we were probably 10 feet away from the edge of the barge when it went by. And the wake just lifted us up and pushed us off the side. But if you got sucked up on anything, you've been done dinner. You've been drowned. Which is kind of bad, because that's how my cousin died, on the river. Sucked under, drowned, him and his girlfriend. She survived, he did not. Same age as me, too. That was a heck of a blow, too. Losing a cousin. Young kid, too. At the time, he was only like 19, 20. Many years ago. Yeah. It can get dangerous out there. You always hear about it every year. They find a boat just floating with nobody on it, on the river. And which most likely happened. It's like, yeah, there's damage to it. It's like it probably got sucked under, hit a barge, and you don't find the people for a long time. A lot of guys, they never wear their they got the life vests in the boat, because the regulations say so, but they don't wear them. I always wore mine, because, at least they'll find my cars. Pretty easy. Like my cousin, he wasn't wearing his vest at the time, and she was. He lived, he died. Kind of a morbid subject, I guess. But yeah, we've had one night, I think I caught it. I don't know what it was exactly. It could have been a big sturgeon for all I know. It was dark. I felt this tug at my line, and it started going, like reeling out really hard, and I just set the hook on this thing. And it's just like, I hit a wall. I never hooked anything that strong before. And it just literally pulled the boat around, and my uncle was like, what the heck is that? And I was like, I'm hooked into something, it is going. And you just hear it, and I'm fighting, and you hear the drag going, and it's like, like, I got a heavy duty line. I usually run 30-pound test and decent fishing rig. I got a big old ugly stick with a Blue Garcia reel on that thing, and that was just owning me. I fought and fought, and finally it must have went around, because it went towards the shore kind of, and it must have got into a deadfall or something like that. And next thing you know, it's like it wasn't fighting anymore. You know, it's next thing you know, my line went stuck. It broke it on something. Well, verdict is 3. Not a very good number 3 at all. Kind of rough. I still feel kind of a little bit of growth, but I just wouldn't take it off. It was working hard. This is what it is. Stinging. Ooh, that is stinging. Stinging from here to here. It's like it was a rough blade. Not a great combination either. Barbasol does not like this soap at all. The Sharp Dressed Man. It's like they do not marry well. Oof. Ah. Not good. Okay, but you never know till you try. Alright, Sharp Dressed Man from the Stirling sample. I'll never get to be honest, probably never get a tub of that, but I'll eventually get through the sample of it. Star Razor with Big Ben blades, 3 and done. You pretty much, I think, 2 and done be a better assessment of those. Use them twice and then bin them, be done. That's kind of how I feel. Even with, I usually get a really good, nice smooth shave with the Star Razor, and it did the job, but this feels kind of rough and kind of gravelly. So that's the shave of the day. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share it with a friend, and we'll see you in the next one. Rusty out.